21 years of persecution, 21 years of patience. On the 10th of Ramadan, 10,000 soldiers marched.
We cannot fight Muhammad, we should surrender.
In perfect silence toward the city that once broke their hearts. This wasn't a march for blood or revenge.
This was the greatest act of mercy in human history. This is the conquest of Makkah.
Finally, the promise of Allah was about to be fulfilled. On one side, 10,000 soldiers marched in perfect silence. On the other, the city of Makkah waited in fear. It all started here. 13 years before the migration, Makkah was the city of Prophet Ibrahim, but it had become the capital of idols. 360 statues stood inside the Kaaba. One man stood against this darkness. Prophet Muhammad brought the message of Tawheed. The Quraysh responded with brutality.
Do you expect us to abandon the faith of our forefathers and worship your God?
They placed thorns in his path. They pelted him with stones. They martyred his beloved uncle, Hazrat Hamza. They tortured the weak. They placed heavy stones on Hazrat Bilal's chest. They martyred Hazrat Sumayya. Finally, they forced the Muslims to flee. As the Prophet left Mecca, he looked back one last time. His heart was heavy. He told the city, "You are the most beloved land to me. If I wasn't forced out, I would never leave." In that moment of exile, Allah promised a return. Medina became the new center of power. The Islamic State was born. Badr was a miracle. Uhud was a trial. The trench was a test of survival. Slowly, the tide began to turn. In the 6th Hijri, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah was signed. To many, the terms seemed like a defeat, but Allah called it a clear victory. In just 2 years, Islam spread faster than ever before, but power breeds arrogance. The Quraysh broke the peace. Their allies attacked the Banu Quza. The treaty was shattered. The Quraysh realized their mistake. Abu Sufyan rushed to Medina to beg for peace. He was ignored. The time for talk was over. The time for action had come. The Prophet began a secret mobilization. He wanted to surprise the Quraysh. He wanted to avoid a massacre. 10,000 men gathered. It was the largest Muslim force ever assembled. Great leaders stood in the ranks. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and the sword of Allah, Khalid bin Walid. They marched toward Mecca under the cover of secrecy. But a crisis emerged. A companion named Hatib tried to send a warning to Makkah. He feared for his family's safety. Divine revelation exposed the plan. The letter was intercepted. Hazrat Umar was ready to execute him for treason. But the Prophet looked deeper. Hatib was a veteran of Badr. The Prophet showed mercy. Allah has forgiven the people of Badr, he said. The march continued. The army reached the outskirts of Mecca at night. The Prophet ordered 10 zonal and individual fires to be lit. The mountains glowed with light. From the city, it looked like an unstoppable force. Abu Sufyan went out to investigate. He was captured and brought before the Prophet. The man who led every war against Islam was now powerless. He saw the discipline of the Muslims. He saw the character of the Prophet. Abu Sufyan declared his faith. The chief of Makkah was now a follower of Islam. The sun rose on the 20th of Ramadan. The Prophet divided his army into 4 columns to enter Mecca from all directions. He gave a historic command.
From Muhammad, whoever stays at home is safe. Whoever enters the Kaaba is safe. Whoever enters Abu Sufyan's house is safe.
This was a masterclass in psychology. He conquered their hearts before their streets. As the columns moved in, the Prophet's orders were clear. Do not shed blood unless attacked. Most of the city surrendered in silence. But in the southern sector, the Quraysh made one last desperate stand. They met the column led by Khalid bin Walid, the sword of Allah. A brief, sharp skirmish broke out, but the resistance was quickly swept aside. The city that had fought Islam for 2 decades fell without a war. The Prophet entered Mecca on his camel. He did not enter as a proud conqueror. His head was bowed so low in humility that it touched his saddle. He credited everything to Allah. He reached the Kaaba. He pointed his staff at the idols. Truth has come and falsehood has perished. He recited. One by one, the 360 idols fell and shattered. The sanctuary was purified. The house of Allah was finally free. Outside, the Quraysh gathered. They expected execution. They expected slavery. They were the ones who had tortured the Prophet. He asked them, "What do you think I will do to you?" They whispered, "You are a noble brother." The Prophet's response shook the world. "Go, you are all free. Total amnesty. No trials, no executions." This was the pinnacle of mercy. The people of Makkah wept. They saw a character they had never seen before. One by one, they embraced Islam.
Then, the Prophet ﷺ called for Bilal, the man who was once a slave in these very streets. Bilal climbed to the roof of the Kaaba. His voice echoed through the valley. The call to prayer,
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.
The call to prayer rang out over the heads of the former masters. The former slave was now the voice of the Ummah. The Prophet stayed for 19 days. He reorganized the city. He destroyed the remnants of the age of ignorance. Then, he did something unexpected. He returned to Medina. He remained loyal to those who gave him shelter when he had nothing. The conquest of Makkah wasn't just a military win. It was the death of hatred. It was the birth of a new civilization. It proved that hearts are won by character, not by the sword. Even today, the world looks back at this day as the greatest example of forgiveness in human history.